I woke up this morning to the sound of retching. Not mine, which is surprising considering I'm 7 months pregnant, but the sound of our dog, Buster, hacking in the hallway. But the moment I sat up, I knew exactly why. The air in our bedroom wasn't air anymore. It was a thick, greasy, acrid haze that coated the back of my throat like slime. My eyes immediately started watering. It smelled like scorched earth and old rancid oil. It was 7:15 a.m., and I knew, with a sinking dread in the pit of my stomach, that my husband was downstairs making his signature breakfast. I threw the covers off, waddled as fast as my third trimester body would allow to the door, and shouted down the stairs, "Mark, the house is full of smoke." There was a pause. Then a calm, almost confused voice floated up from his office. Not the kitchen, his office. "It's not smoke, babe. It's just the spices coasting. Relax." I stood there at the top of the landing, gripping the banister, coughing until I tasted copper, and I thought to myself, I am going to divorce this man over a block of tofu. But before I tell you if I actually followed through on that threat, or how a cast iron skillet almost ended my marriage, let me take you back to where this greasy nightmare began. Mark is what you call a creature of habit. When we met 10 years ago, I loved that about him. He was stable, predictable in a comforting way. He has eaten the exact same breakfast every single day for a decade. A tofu scramble with onions, peppers, and spinach cooked in a vintage cast iron skillet. For the first 8 years, this was fine. Actually, it was better than fine. It was impressive. He was disciplined. He'd stand over the stove, spatula in hand, lovingly pushing the tofu around until it was perfectly fluffy. But about 2 years ago, things changed. Mark got a promotion. He started working from home, and the lines between breakfast time and work time blurred. He stopped being a cook and started being a multitasker. The routine shifted. Now he throws the oil in the pan, cranks the heat, dumps the ingredients in, and then he walks away. He wanders into his office to check emails, check Slack, maybe look at a spreadsheet. He claims he leaves the burner on low. I'm telling you, that dial is never on low. It started gradually. At first, the onions were just a little crispy. Then the tofu got a bit crunchy. But lately, it's evolved into a full-on hazard. The oil reaches its smoke point, burns, and fills the air with this heavy blue haze. If you've never smelled burnt soybean oil and charred turmeric, count yourself lucky. It sticks to everything. It sticks to your hair, your clothes, your upholstery. The problem is, Mark is in complete denial. I'd come into the kitchen waving a tea towel around like a maniac, coughing and say, "Mark, you're burning the house down." And he'd look up from his computer screen, genuinely baffled, and say, "What? No, I'm not. That's just the steam. It's flavor, honey. You like it crispy." "I like crispy," I'd tell him. "I don't like carbonized." But we managed. I'd open a window, I'd light a candle, we got by. Then came the 2 factors that turned this annoyance into a crisis. First, we moved. We bought a charming fixer-upper. It's an old Victorian build, high ceilings, original molding, and absolutely zero modern ventilation. The range hood above the stove, useless. It doesn't vent outside. It just has a little fan that sucks the smoke up and blows it right back into my face at eye level. It's basically a smoke distribution system. Second, and most importantly, I got pregnant. And let me tell you, pregnancy changed my nose into a superpower I never asked for. They call it hyperosmia. I can smell a banana from 3 rooms away. So when Mark burns his oil now, it's not just an annoyance, it is physical torture. The smell hits me and my stomach immediately turns inside out. It triggers migraines, it makes me dizzy. I spend my mornings barricaded in the bedroom with a towel shoved under the door, praying the smell doesn't seep in. Which brings us to this week. I had reached my breaking point. I haven't had a peaceful morning in months. I wake up anxious, waiting for the smell. On Monday, I tried to be gentle. We were sitting at the dinner table. Well, I was sitting. He was doing dishes. And I said, "Hey, babe, can we talk about breakfast?" He turned around, scrubbing a plate. "Yeah? You want me to make you some tomorrow?" "No," I said quickly. "God, no." Actually, I wanted to ask, would you consider eating something else? Just for a while, or maybe cooking it differently? He laughed. He actually laughed. Why fix what isn't broken? It's my fuel, babe. High protein, good start to the day. But the smell, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Mark, it's making me sick. The smell is unbearable." He dried his hands and gave me that look. The one that says, "Oh, you poor hormonal woman." "Babe," he said, walking over and kissing my forehead, "I think you're just sensitive right now. There isn't any smoke. I checked yesterday. The air was clear. It's all in your head." I looked at him. I wanted to scream. In my head, the smoke detector chirped twice yesterday. "That was just a low battery," he said dismissively. "Look, I'll turn the fan on high tomorrow, okay?" He didn't get it. He fundamentally did not believe his cooking was the problem. He thought I was being dramatic. Tuesday morning came. I'm lying in bed staring at the ceiling. I hear the clang of the cast iron. I hear the sizzle of the oil. I check the clock. 7 a.m. Then silence. No scraping spatula, no movement. 7:05 a.m. Still silence. 7:10 a.m. I smell it. That familiar, sharp sting in my nostrils. I got up, wrapped my robe around me, and marched downstairs. The kitchen was hazy. Not steam hazy, smoke hazy. A thin gray layer was hovering near the ceiling. The pan was on the burner, hissing violently. The tofu on the bottom was black. And Mark? Mark was in the living room, headphones on, typing furiously on his laptop. I walked over to the stove and turned the knob off. The silence was deafening. I walked into the living room and tapped him on the shoulder. He jumped, pulling his headphones off. "Whoa, you're up early," he smiled. "The food is burning," I said, my voice deadly quiet. "No, it's not," he said, annoyed now. "Come look." He sighed, a loud, theatrical sigh, and followed me into the kitchen. He looked at the pan. He poked the blackened tofu with a fork. "See," he said, gesturing to the unburnt top layer. "It's fine, just a little char on the bottom. That's the best part." "Mark," I said, feeling the tears welling up. Stupid hormones. "Look at the air. Look at the light fixture. You can see the smoke swirling around it." He squinted. "I really think you're imagining things. It looks fine to me." I lost it. I grabbed the pan, handle holder on, luckily, and carried it to the back door, opened the door, and set it outside on the porch steps. "Hey," he shouted, "that's my breakfast." "It's charcoal," I yelled back. "I can't do this anymore, Mark. I am nauseous every single morning. I am coughing. The dog is coughing. You are polluting our house because you can't be bothered to stand at the stove for 5 minutes." He crossed his arms, his face getting red. "You are being incredibly controlling. I work hard. I make my own breakfast. I don't ask you to cook for me. And now you're throwing my food outside? That's irrational." "I'm not asking you to cook for me. I'm asking you to stop poisoning me." "You're using the pregnancy as a tyrant," he snapped. That hit me hard. It felt cruel. I didn't say another word. I just turned around, walked upstairs, locked the bedroom door, and turned on the air purifier I had bought specifically for this room. I spent the rest of the day in there. I cried. I felt crazy. Was I being a tyrant? Was it really just steam and I was hallucinating the smoke? I needed a reality check. So I did something petty. Wednesday morning, yesterday, I woke up before him. I went downstairs at 6:30 a.m. I set up my phone in the corner of the kitchen, hidden behind the stand mixer. Then I went back to bed and waited. The routine started. Clang, sizzle, silence. I waited until the smell hit me upstairs. It was particularly bad this time. Acrid, metallic. I waited 5 more minutes. Then the smoke alarm went off. Beep, beep, beep. I heard Mark scramble from his office. "Oh, shit, shit, shit." I heard the sound of a towel waving frantically. I heard him opening the back door. I heard him cursing. I stayed in bed. I didn't move. Result. Later that evening, Mark was acting like nothing happened. He was sweet, asked how I was feeling. He clearly thought I had slept through the alarm or was in the shower. We sat down for dinner, takeout, because I refused to enter the kitchen. So I started, taking a deep breath. How was breakfast this morning? He didn't even look up from his burger. Fine, good. Really? I asked. Did anything unusual happen? He paused, chewing slowly. No, why? I pulled out my phone. Mark, I need you to watch this. I played the video. First, you see him put the pan on. You see him crank the heat. You see him walk away. Then, for 10 minutes, you see the pan. Steam turns to wisps of gray smoke. The gray turns into a steady black plume. The kitchen visibly fills up. It looks like a haunted house.
You told me there was no smoke, I said quietly. You told me I was imagining it. You told me I was using our baby as an excuse to be a tyrant. He set the phone down on the table. He looked at the video, then at me, then at my stomach. The defiance drained out of him. I saw his shoulders slump. I really thought, he stammered. I mean, I knew it got a little smoky sometimes, but watching it from that angle, it looks bad. It doesn't look bad, Mark, I said. It looks like a fire hazard, and it looks like you gaslighting me. He winced at the word gaslighting, but he didn't argue. He sat there for a long time. Finally, he reached across the table and took my hand. I am so sorry, he said. And for the first time in 2 years, he actually sounded like he meant it. I get into the work zone, and I just lose track of time. I didn't realize how much smoke there was until I saw it just now. I've been smelling it for so long, I think I'm noseblind to it. I'm not noseblind, I whispered. I'm miserable. I know, he said. I'm an idiot. I'm a creature of habit, and I let the habit turn into a problem. We sat in silence for a bit. The vindication felt good, but I was also just exhausted. So, he said, taking a breath, what do we do? I can't eat cold cereal. I'll go insane. We compromise, I said. I'm not asking you to starve, but the cast iron skillet method, it's dead. At least until we get a real ventilation hood. He nodded slowly. Okay, what if I get an air fryer? I blinked. Can you do tofu scramble in an air fryer? I don't know, he laughed, but I can make crispy tofu in it, and it's sealed. And it has a timer that turns itself off so I physically can't burn it. And if you use the stove for the veggies? I asked. I will stay in the kitchen, he promised. No laptop, no phone, just me and the spinach. This morning was the test. I woke up, I sniffed the air. Nothing. No burning rubber, no acrid oil, just the faint smell of coffee. I walked downstairs. Mark was in the kitchen. He was standing in front of a shiny new air fryer he must have bought on same-day delivery last night. He was sautéing spinach in a different pan, on low heat, staring at it like a hawk. He saw me and grinned. Morning, how's the air quality index? I took a deep breath. Breathable. He plated up his tofu. It looked different, drier, but definitely not burnt. He took a bite, chewed thoughtfully, and shrugged. It's not the same. The texture is different. My heart sank a little. Was he going to complain? But, he added, pointing his fork at me, my wife isn't crying and the dog isn't hacking, so it's the best breakfast I've ever had. He walked over and hugged me. He smelled like soap and fresh coffee, not a grease trap. I hugged him back. So, to answer the question I asked myself, would I be the asshole if I asked him to stop? No. Sometimes you have to be the asshole to save your sanity, your lungs, and your marriage. And honestly, the air fryer tofu actually tastes better. Just don't tell him I said that. If you've ever had a partner with a habit that drove you absolutely up the wall, let me know in the comments. Did you find a compromise, or are you still suffering in silence? And if you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more drama from the trenches of marriage.